Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be breaking down Aleia Hobbs' new 60-meter American record, and we're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab. Reach your individual goals. You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video. Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become. All right, so Aleia Hobbs is somebody that we were definitely high on even at the Olympics last year and at the World Championships, and it's somebody that is consistently getting better. I think that there's still a lot of potential. I'm really excited to be able to see how well she does once we get into the up-and-coming World Championships. Obviously, she's getting herself ready, a new American record here, 694. We're going to go into it right away. So we're going to start with the start here. We got her and in this position, and she really gets a clean start. She's one of those athletes who is a little bit taller, 5'8", and we want to be able to, when you're a taller athlete, you have to be able to have a clean start, a clean get off, be able to really maximize your horizontal action at the first 3, 5, and even 10 steps, and really try not to have any wasted movement, any inefficient movements. And so what we want to be able to see here is landing in a very upright position. We can see some of these other girls are landing with, or I should say women are landing with their heels lower. We can see how she's landing with that heel nice and high, and so does a great job of being able to come straight through with this foot. I've been somebody that is at times not a huge fan of the toe drag, but as I've been working with more athletes and seeing more and more people that have an issue with like lifting up with that heel coming back behind, the more I recommend the toe drag as something that could be beneficial for getting a better understanding of what is needed as we're going through those first few steps. So we see her land here, and what we have to be able to understand is as this foot is coming through, right? And the reason it's important to be able to be very efficient in coming up and through with the leg is so then we could strike the ground in a position where we're going back and behind the best that we can, and simultaneously giving the opportunity to get our hips to come forward. So what happens just in general with the body is first the foot has to come forward, right? Then the knee has to come forward, then the hips can come forward. So it's a lot more difficult for the hips to be able to come forward when your foot and when your knee is behind. But it's easier when we're getting the foot up in front and the knee out in front for the hips to be able to come through. And especially for taller athletes, we have to be able to get those hips coming more forward. Okay, and we can see with her, it seems like she has a lot better range, is a lot more comfortable within that left hip. So we can see that when she's here and coming up with that left foot, left knee, she's getting a really strong position there to then strike right back. Right leg, not to say that she's bad, but she's getting into this position, and then she gets a little bit more of a rotational action in comparison to a straight extension action, and it just ends up being a difference, right? Everybody has some things that are different in how they're starting and how they're utilizing their body in order to get them into top speed. And once she's in this position where she is really in a neutral position with a lot of these women, right? She's about, maybe second, third place. It's hard to be able to tell 100% from this spot. Now she could really allow herself to be able to open up. This is the spot that she wants to be because she is very, very confident in her ability to finish the race. And it's important to be able to understand what is going to be your strength, what is going to be your weakness, what are you going to be able to rely on in order to run such a great time or to be able to make a American record time or a country record time or even to be able to win a race in general, right? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? So then we could really utilize the strengths to be able to excel. And we can see a big strength for her is going to be her top end speed, right? As she gets into this upright position and is really able to pull, utilizing, we talk about this a lot, that length in order to really get as much distance as you can. And length is not something that applies to somebody that's only a taller athlete. It's something that applies to everyone, right? If you're 5'8", Christian Coleman, and trying to finish out a 60, finish out 100, you have to utilize length the same way that Usain Bolt would be utilizing length. Obviously, you can't do it to the same level because you don't have the same levers, but you still want to be able to have the same type of mechanics, and that ends up being really important. That's something that I think he can improve on, is being able to create more extension, which would help him in being able to generate more length in comparison to being such a rotational-based athlete, which makes it so now, while he has a great start, he can work a lot more on his top-end speed. So what ends up being important here, though, as we get to top speed and the more video that we're able to watch and really analyze and get in depth into when it comes to top speed, the more it's essential for us to be very, very focused on what we're doing with the heel as we're striking the ground. So there's two things that end up happening here, right? First, we're going to get the toe up and through, the knee forward, the toe up and through, right? We need to get to this position. We can't get to this position. None of this ends up mattering. And this is where it's just a continual cycle of what are we doing in the start? What are we doing in the drive phase, right? So we were talking already about being able to, she did a great job of getting her foot through, get a great job of getting her knee through. So now she can get her hips through more effectively. Now when you can start to get your hips through more effectively, now we can get into top speed and be in that more upright position. Now when she's in this upright position and getting the feet through, when she's striking the ground, the foot push off, right? The push off action is something that I think is very, very misunderstood. We have to be able to get our foot up, and this is when the foot push starts, right? This is the foot push off, is as we're hitting the ground, pushing into the ground from there. So as our foot strikes, we're already in that pushing action to be able to really maximize the time that we have on the ground to be as efficient as possible. If you think that the push-off happens here, it's too late. If you think the push-off happens here, it's too late. Now you're going to get your foot back behind. Now you're going to get that heel back behind, which is what I was saying is a critical thing to understand, is when that push starts, which is here. This is when the push starts because it's a full range action. It's the same with quarterbacks. When we get to this position, if you get to this position and then you start your wrist flick, it's already too late. We need to start the wrist flick back here so we have the full motion through there. It's the same thing, right? We need to start the push off here into the ground so it's all one motion. Now we can get the heel right back up to the butt and cycle that leg right through. So in my opinion, what ends up being the reason people get stuck with their foot back behind is they're starting that toe off or that push off too late into the sprint, and maybe watching some of my videos, or even just in being taught in general, trying too hard to keep dorsiflexion, right? If you're trying to keep dorsiflexion too much with the foot and not really utilizing the plantar flexion into the ground or the strike into the ground, now you're going to, again, have not the right, then you're going to end up really wasting time when it comes to your foot strike. So, excellent job here. She does a great job with her hands. I think she could be even better with her pull if she wasn't so high with her hands out in front. It's hard to be able to really get super critical with women that are beating records, but I do think she could be more effective with her hands and more efficient with her hands. I think that's going to make it so when she gets to the longer races, she'll be able to do a lot better because she won't have as much wasted energy. She's wasting a lot of energy with her arms coming forward, and instead of really being able to pull back, which is a little bit, as a sprinter, as a runner, it's more efficient and more effective and makes it so you're able to get a stronger pull, and really a stronger pull for a longer period of time. When we start getting our hands out in front, it's just inefficient, and it makes it so you have to work harder to pull those hands back, where it should be an easy, fluent, almost reactive motion in order to run as fast as you can. So as always, guys, thanks for watching here. Aleia Hobbs, congratulations, 694 on your sprinting. I hope you're able to get a little bit better with the arms there and continue your success this season. I'm really rooting for her to do really well. I really think based off of how she's been doing the last couple of years, I think she's somebody that could definitely make some big noise going into this season. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you like the information, click that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you have any questions, comments, comments or recommendations, you can leave those down below. As always, if you guys want to check out some of the things that we offer for sprinters, for athletes, for anybody that's looking to get faster, you can go ahead and check out the description down below. We do stuff in person, we do stuff online. We really put a big focus on improving your mechanics, improving your ability to move throughout your sprinting mechanics, and just put a big focus on getting a better understanding of what it takes to be able to be a top level athlete. So landing, acceleration, deceleration, the start, the three-point stance, the acceleration phase, the drive phase, the top end speed, transition, landing, leg cycle, top end speed, training regimens, drills, everything that we want to be able to really give you as much information as you possibly can to be able to take your game to the next level. The more information you have, the more educated you are, the better you're going to be as an athlete. So again, check that out in the description down below. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.